let people, have their own opinion about us and, what we're capable of. But as long as we stay tight and, focus on getting better and, get out of our fields and put this behind us, we'll be just fine. I think we got to the main thing that, we got to take away as a team is, we got to play with a chip on our shoulder. Like, fuck whatever people say, as long as we're good in this locker room, we'll be just fine.
Where does a better run game start with, Chase? Where does that start?
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna reflect outside. I think the main thing that reflects a good run game is physicality, just movement, breaking tackles, getting up to the second level, making big plays. So I think, that'll come, and it'll come.
It's hard to stomach it, I especially personally, man, I feel like there's so much I left out there on the field, to help put us in better position. But we'll learn from it, we'll grow from it. It's a hard pill to swallow.
As far as the run game goes, Zach talked about needing to shake things up possibly to help it grow and get better. What do you notice in that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it starts with me, man, just being better in those situations for us, being able to execute better, handling my job. It was 2 TFLs that I gave up there, especially there on the first play of the game. So, to me, man, it starts with that.
Did you feel like practice this week was as sharp as it needed to be? Was there any indication that you guys could potentially have the type of performance you did in the first half?
No, I think, it just comes down to execution. And, when the lights come on, being able to go out there and be the best version of yourself.
How tough is it with those 2 turnovers that go the other way for 7?
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard, and some things are a part of the game. You're never going to be perfect, but being able to capitalize from those things, come back and score, sometimes can help those things, and we weren't able to do that today.
How do you want to see, in terms of emotion, this team respond this week?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, the way you handle adversity, defines true character. And so this team has been in tough spots before. I think back to 2023 when we lost Joe Jake, had to come in and we had to do our job. So, man, it's just so much football left down the road. And to me, this is a very much of a learning and growing moment for us.
How important is it for the run game to start to get going at some point here soon?
Very, very important, man, especially early. I like I said, man, I can't put enough onus on myself, for us to start the game there with a TFL because of me. That's a lot, and that's real, and I got to do a better job of handling my responsibility in those situations for us.
I know this was tough and the tape will be tough to watch, but do you look at this as an opportunity for you guys to really see what you could be made of and not let this snowball into a couple more weeks?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We got everything we need in here, and we got a ton of faith in every man in here to do their job at a high level. Like I said, we just got to execute when the lights come on.
It's 17-3. You're driving at the end of the first half. You're driving, and if you punch it in, get a field goal, you get the ball at the beginning of the second half.
Yeah,
that seemed to be a big. The big play there.
Yeah, man. Was that a turnover on that drive? Is that what happened? Yeah. Well, man, it's like, those type of swings are hard to come back from on this level, especially, when we get a ball up like we did. And to me, that's, more of a reflection of the score as well is, just kind of, turning the ball over in those situations. And that's an 11-man job on offense, man, making sure that guys are getting downfield, getting to the ball. When the fumbles do happen, someone on our side of the ball is able to fall on it, man. Nobody's going to be perfect. And so, but we strive to set a very high standard for ourselves, man. And today we didn't live up to that at all.
How much does, you guys were out there a lot with turnovers. I mean, there's no excuses, but like how much did it just feel like the snowball effect was just a tough one to keep up with?
Yeah, I mean, that's how some of these games go, unfortunately. Especially when you lose the turnover battle. I think it was 5-0. We got to try to get turnovers with defense, and that still stands true. I've told you that, guys, that the turnovers are one of the most ultimate decision makers in how you win and lose football games, and we're on the opposite end of it today.
What's your process like to be able to get over a loss like this mentally?
24-hour rule. Soak it up, take it on the chin, learn from it, and move on to Denver. That's all. That's really all you can do. It's one of the most lopsided losses I think I've been a part of, and I'm going to own my part on what I got to do to be better, what we got to do better defensively, and just go from there.
I think collectively, obviously, our worst game of the season. I'd say we haven't put together a great game yet. A lot to go back and look at, and we got to stick together. We got a big one Monday night in Denver, but overall, obviously, very poor.
What is your process to mentally get over a loss like this?
Well, we got to watch it first. Be very honest with ourselves, honest with each other, be accountable to our mistakes, and get ready to play. That's the beauty of the NFL, is we have another crack at it here coming up. But that was obviously a very disappointing effort by everyone.
It felt like, despite the game getting away from you a little bit early, that going into that second or end of the first half, you guys had a chance to build some momentum there. 17-3, you had the ball, you're driving a little bit, and then it kind of unravels with the 3 straight turnovers.
I think, turnovers kind of blew the game open. Everyone up front took a turn. So, like I said, overall poor performance by everyone. Everyone's, we gotta look at it and be honest with ourselves, because that was not who we are.
Are you guys physical enough at the point of attack, especially in the run game right now?
Obviously not today. I think that's a really good front. Credit to them. Credit to B-Flow for scheming it up. But no, certainly not.
Zach said that you guys have really got to figure out your identity in the run game and what that's going to be, and it could involve shaking some things up. I guess, is it disappointing that in week 3 you guys don't know what you want your identity in the run game to be?
I think you could say today was disappointing. I'm not disappointed in this team, but we have a lot of work to do if we want to get to where we want to get. And we sit at 2-1. We got killed in Minnesota. We're going to have to flush it, but after a hearty dose of honesty. So, we'll see where we go from here, but we got to get ready to work.
What's probably the most disappointing thing about today for you?
I think the most disappointing is that everyone up front took a turn. We all had our moments against a really good front. I'm not going to discredit them, but to let the game get away from us, I feel like was a O-line responsibility.
Do you think if this team can find a way to get the run game started early, it takes a lot of pressure off the rest of the offense?
I think that's just a football fundamental. So yes, we have to do better. We have to execute better. We have to get a hat in the hat. We can't get knocked back. So there's a lot of things, and we're gonna, this sucks. So we're gonna have to go back and look at this and be truth-telling Monday tomorrow.